What if I told you that you're losing money, but you don't even realize it? Hidden fees can cost you hundreds or even thousands of dollars every year, and most of them go unnoticed by the public. Fees that you could have not paid and instead use them to pay down debt or increase your investments. Today, we'll uncover some of these fees so that you can stop the bleeding and start using money for your own personal financial gains. Section 1. Bank Fees. There are a few different sneaky fees that banks will charge you. Take it from a former bank teller. Let's explore more about hidden bank fees. Overdraft fees. If you applied to have overdraft on your account, your bank may charge you a recurring fee for it. Every time you dive into your emergency overdraft, your bank may charge you a few dollars per transaction, costing you potentially hundreds of dollars a year. Best practice is to not go into overdraft and treat it more like a last lifeline. ATM fees. If you use ATMs that aren't associated with your bank, they may charge you a few dollars every time you take cash out. Not only that, but the ATM company may charge you a few dollars as well. You could be paying up to $10 per ATM withdrawal if you aren't paying attention. Best practice is if you need cash, visit your local branch or bank associated ATM to make your withdrawals. Monthly fees. Many banks charge a monthly fee to use an account. Highway robbery, I know, but banks are in the business of making money. Many institutions offer ways to save on monthly fees, such as a minimum balance on your account or having several other products with them to help reduce your costs. You may also find that you have too much account for your needs and need to downgrade. Speak to someone at your bank to help you out in this regard. NSF fees. If you try to charge to your account and you don't have sufficient funds, your bank will charge an insufficient funds fee, or NSF. These can be costly at around $45 per transaction. Make sure you have sufficient funds in your bank account. Section 2. Investment fees. If you're new or inexperienced with investing, there are several fees you will need to be aware of. While you can't avoid these fees, having awareness of them is important. Expense ratios. These are fees that are charged on a mutual fund or an ETF for the expenses incurred on the fund during a year. You don't see these as a fee directly, but as a percentage of your return. The return you see on a mutual fund or ETF chart is the return after these fees are taken off. The amount of these fees can differ based on what the activity of the fund is and how much you have invested. If you have $1,000 invested in an equity mutual fund and the expense fee is 2.5%, your cost would be $25 for the year. Like I said before, you don't see this charge in your statement as it's taken before the final return is given. If your fund returned 10% for the year, the gross return would be 12.5% in our example, with the 2.5% fee taken off. At the end of the day, if your mutual fund or ETF is making good returns, it's not something to be hugely worried about. If your fund isn't performing, then I would consider your options for moving your money out. Load fees. These are another common fee for mutual funds, although they're becoming less common given the change in the market. Typically, load fees are charged either on the initial purchase of a mutual fund or on the back end when you sell. Most funds today are considered no-load funds, which means that you don't have to pay a sales fee to buy or sell a fund. If you were considering adding a mutual fund to your portfolio, I highly recommend learning about the funds that do and don't charge these fees, as they can eat away at your principal. Trading fees. These fees are quite common if you trade with a brokerage firm. They typically charge a commission fee when you buy or sell stocks. For some brokerage firms, they charge a percentage of the amount that you're buying, typically around 1 to 2% of the transaction. Other brokerage firms charge a flat fee, say $10 for each trade you make. There are discount brokers that charge much less but offer much less in terms of value and features as well. If you decide to buy stocks, you'll want to research what each broker has and what you value the most, fewer fees or more features. Section 3. Credit card fees. What if I told you that even your credit cards can charge fees? Let's look at them now. Annual fees. There are many different credit cards that charge an annual fee for their use. Some cards are only a few dollars a year, while others can range to the hundreds annually. My own credit card costs $120 a year. While it may seem like a huge cost annually, there are plenty of perks that come with paying these higher fees. Many credit cards that have these fees include perks such as purchase protection insurance, a concierge to help you with whatever you need, travel insurance, ability to earn rewards or cash back, among other things. If you find that you don't need these huge perks, find a card that charges little to no annual fee and save yourself the money. Foreign transaction fees. If you travel abroad, you might be inclined to take some local currency with you to pay for things. While this is common practice, many people simply decide to take their credit cards for protection. It can be a good safety measure to take your credit card instead of cash, but there could be hidden fees that you might not be aware of. When you buy something in a different currency, you don't buy it for the current exchange rate. The credit card company will charge an extra 1.5 to 3.5% for the exchange rate. While it may not seem like much, you could be losing $2 to $5 per transaction. If you're using your card a lot, it can add up to hundreds of dollars in fees you could be avoiding. It's never a bad idea to have your card with you when you travel, but maybe keep it for an emergency and use cash as your primary source of transacting. Late fees, over limit fees, and cash advances. These fees are bad, really bad. Every time you go over your allotted credit limit, you'll be charged a significant amount of money, usually around $25 depending on your company. Late fees on your bill can result in increased interest costs, driving up your interest rate anywhere from 3 to 10% or even more. Finally, if you take out a cash advance, you will be charged a few dollars on that, plus be incurring a higher interest than your normal rate from day one. It's something you should never do unless no other options are available. Section 4. Other hidden fees. If you think the fees are done, think again. There are so many different hidden fees, I can't cover them all in this video. But let's take a look at some other common fees you might run into. Food delivery. While it may be convenient to order skip to save on prepping dinner, it can come at a cost. You may think that a meal at your local restaurant will only cost $20, but if you get it delivered, there could be an extra $3 to $8 for delivery, plus tipping on top of that. Suddenly, your $20 meal can cost potentially over $30. Either go to the restaurant for pickup, or just make a meal at home. Ticket service fees. My local movie theaters have an app that I can use to book movies, which I do regularly. What's frustrating is that I have to pay an extra $1.50 for buying my tickets online. I could save this by going to the box office directly, but I don't have time for that. Check to see if your local theaters do this too. Utility fees. You may have a utility company that charges an extra admin fee or cancellation fee for their service. While some companies may not do anything about it, you can always negotiate your fees with your companies. Who knows? Maybe you can save an extra $20 to $50 a month in fees. We are surrounded by hidden fees everywhere. While it's annoying, we can save on these unnecessary fees by being strategic with our spending and timing. You probably won't become a millionaire by not paying these fees, but with enough diligence and planning, you could be saving hundreds or even thousands of dollars by not paying these unnecessary fees. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to watch my other video on the 8 mindless ways you waste money. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.